Hey everybody, how's it going? Oh boy, oh geez, oh gosh. We have some video games to cast here and a little bit of channel news. Not big channel news, shut up, calm down. Yeah, we had Vermin League playoffs for Season 8. Tactical Lich, Tequila Sunset, Kiyama, some of the other people are covering some of those events as well. We'll be handling the Gray Seer bracket, which you can see in front of you. It's the highest rank on our best of 3 land battle conquest ladder. We also have domination. It's a different leaderboard and a different tournament. So just talking about the land battle conquest side, it is this event. Now I'll be casting all of the games as videos to get the tournament cast. I was looking for time to do a live stream, but as some of you know, I've been having health issues, so it's hard to commit a large amount of time to sitting and doing this. And I've also been busy with work and medical nonsense, like going to appointments and stuff that takes time. So we're just gonna get these out in this format. You'll still get all the wonderful games. And yeah, I get my gallbladder removed on Wednesday, my birthday, so that should be a fun little birthday for me. By the time this video comes out, yeah, that Wednesday comment should make sense. But obviously this tournament will take a while to release. This will kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone. It'll get this tournament covered, which deserves to be covered. A ton of good games in there. And then also it'll get us some videos to help through the month of March while I'm maybe not going to be recording because of my little tum-tum being removed. Yeah. So I don't know if I'm going to do a best of 3 per video or 2 best of 3s per video. We'll see. We'll kind of just see how long the best of 3s are. So yeah, with that, let's get on with the show. First one is Strat Game versus SIPA. Let me find that. Okay, Strat Game versus SIPA. Boot her up. Boot her up. Strat Game SIPA. NC Strat Game. It's not 5-4, it's 0-0. This is the Gray Seer bracket, though. Like I said, it should be the top of our leaderboard. And these are going to be sweaty, try-hard games. So Grace just made a face at me, which she does. I said you made a face at me, which you do.
I made a face.
I made a face. I am recording official business.
Well, now this is recorded.
I want to say hi to the people in the future. There's no camera on, obviously.
Hello, people in the future.
What's it like in the future, you guys? I'm going to make a prediction. I'm going to bet it's purple.
I can tell you what it's like in the past.
Wow.
It sucks.
It sucks? All right, get out of here. Take the
Hazel,
dog
do
with
wanna
you.
come with?
Get out of here!
Come on, Hazel.
Get out of here! Okay. Looks like Strat's going with Greenskins. I know he does like them quite a lot. And Sipa's going to go with Dark Elves. His favorite faction, if I remember correctly. And he's very good at them. For Strat Game, a lot of Orc Boar Boys and Orc Boar Boy Biggins. Just heavy armor piercing cav spam, it looks like. Just counting on the Cold One Ninth not to be able to kill that many armored pigs. Ruglin's Armored Orcs, good Regiment of Renown. And then a front line of Goblins with spears. Grom the Paunch leading them. Regenerating. Did not bring his lucky banner, so it looks like he's just going for extra stats for his boys, obviously, but a regenerating Chariot Lords that Doombolt can't snipe him out as easily as it might others. And then Fists of Gork, here we go on a Shaman caster. For the Dark Elves, we have Dark Riders, Coldblow Knights, and Doomfire Warlocks, so a lot of diverse cavalry, but a very mobile build here from SIPA. We have a Feral Manticore, not a summon, a real Feral Manticore. Interesting. I guess he just wanted some cheap terror against the Greenskins. Sorceress of Death with just the Purple Sun of Xerxes, and then a front line of Dread Spears with the High Beastmaster Lord with his little net on his Scourger Chariot. SIPA's been a big fan of that guy. I really have not bought into that, but I also have not been really playing too much recently, so I'm behind on the meta, but I've never really bought in on the High Beastmaster stuff. We also have the Acid Burper that came out of nowhere, so he must have been deployed in the back line and just sprinted to the front as of now. First Waz out from Strat Games Greenskins, and it really looks like the first engagements are favoring him. I saw the Manticore earlier was stuck just fighting Grom and a bunch of other stuff, so I think it took a good amount of damage. Yeah, here it is with a third of its health missing. Overall, the cav engagements are going the Greenskins' way, again, because of that Wa in the early game. Now, if this draws out and Murderous Prowess procs for the Dark Elves and Wa wears off, as we can see now, Murderous Prowess is procced and Wa has worn off, the Greenskins are going to start to fall back as the Dark Elves beat them here and there. But disaster for the Dark Elves potentially. High Beastmaster takes 2/3, just under half of his HP from Acid Burpa and is trying to chase him down. 86 speed to his 84. Technically, it can catch him if it can get out of these Dark Riders. Doomfire Warlocks, excuse me, who are just fighting Orc Boar Boys. Second Wash should be coming up relatively soon. Greenskins have a nice lead on the early balance of power, I would agree. The early engagements favored them. And then the counterpunch from the Dark Elves is still ongoing, that Murderous Prowess. But really, it is like the first proc of Murderous Prowess after the wall wears off where you really have to get a lot of value back, and they're not quite doing it. So the second wall is out from the Greenskins, probably the last one of the game for them, and a Purple Sun is coming down on this cav area, but it's not a blob of cavalry. There's a lot of flags in the air, but you can see that they're actually pretty spread out. So the Purple Sun's going to get damage, but not that much damage. As the Dark Elves ride out the second and final wall, it has worn off. Immune to Psychology also faded with it, but Grom does give constant immune to Psychology to his Orc Boar Boys around him. And the attrition game is going very heavily in the Greenskins' favor. Meanwhile, the High Beastmaster is running around with the Acid Burpa, which is now distracted, chasing down Bleak Swords, which is not a good use of its time, so it does want to turn around and get back to the main fight. High Beastmaster just poking away at it as best he can. For the Dark Elves, if they had a Spirit Leech caster, I would be a little more positive on their late game potential, but really they only have Purple Sun, which just punishes blobs. But everything is so tattered now that it's going to come down to some single entity fights. Acid Burpa and Grom versus, I guess, the Manticore, but it's pretty toast. So it's like, all right, your Purple Sun doesn't do any damage to Grom, doesn't do any damage to the Acid Burpa. So the threats left that the Greenskins actually have are unaffected by your magic. So the caster being full health is pretty negligible to me. Purple Sun's going to be okay versus like goblins and stuff. I'm just saying it's like whether or not you delete this Goblin Spear isn't what the rest of this game is going to hinge on. It's going to hinge on what you can do about the Acid Burpa and Grom. Broken Tusk Mob charging back in from the forest. Get intercepted by Doomfire Warlocks and then saturated in Bleak Swords and Cold One Knights. They might be dying soon as the Acid Burpa tries to rejoin the fight. It has been just getting poked by this High Beastmaster. He's getting decent, consistent value against that thing. But the big terror-causing monster is enough to get rid of most of these Dark Elf units. Big rout here in favor of the Greenskins, and it looks like the High Beastmaster is coming over. Maybe we'll see a desperate Lord Snipe attempt onto the Greenskins. That's probably the only way the Dark Elves can win now, is if somehow the High Beastmaster and the Sorceress of Death get Grom off the map. Then you'll lose some of these Orc Boar Boys to fear. The Acid Burpa is a Regiment of Renown monster, but it is still just a monster, so it could rout, but I'm throwing out like the last chances for the Dark Elves in this game. It's not looking good. Yeah, because Grom's even a better combatant than the High Beastmaster, so 1v1 doesn't favor him. In comes the Cold One Knights, but they were desynced from the High Beastmaster as they accidentally go under the map. The Acid Burpa is here, able to easily clear those guys out, save Grom, and the game does seem to be over. As Grom is consistently healing, so even in this hyper late game where everybody looks wounded, Grom's got a little bit more love left to give. Sipa trying to use Purple Sun on those single entities. Gets canceled as she gets knocked over. And it's going to be GG. Strat takes game one. In-car is just sending me some stuff I asked for, distracted me mildly, but we're back. We're paying attention. For strat, 1500 on Grom. Goblins all did very well considering their price point. Ruglin's Armored Orcs also did nicely. Orc Boar Boys were consistent, good mass. Orc Boar Biggins also did fine. The Acid Burpa did really well, especially with its terror routes. On the other side, for Sipa and the Dark Elves, High Beastmaster got really good value considering how cheap he is. Sorceress did okay. Not great. The Purple Sun definitely let Sipa down a little bit. And then Bleak Swords got wrecked by the Greenskins. Cavalry did fine, but not amazing. Manticore did fine as well. So I'll update the score, but then to avoid spoilers, because if I open up the replays folder, you'll see a bunch of replays from later on, so that might be a little spoilery. We're going to send you back over to the bracket, just so you can admire my fine artwork, blocking all of the spoilers on that bracket, while I pull up Game 2. All right. Ooh, game 2 is kind of El Clasico. Nope, that's not the scorecard. There's the scorecard. But where's the game? There's the game. Khorne versus Slaanesh, and we have Skarbrand versus Nekari. Both of these factions did get a DLC relatively recently. Khorne was 2 DLCs ago. Slaanesh was the last DLC. Though I honestly don't know if Khorne even took any DLC units. Ooh, wow. All right, we're going to hit slow motion on this start because it started hot and heavy immediately. We have 4 Chaos Furies of Khorne, 4 Marauder Horsemen with throwing axes, 2 Minotaurs with great weapons, Skarbrand with his Rampage and his Breath Attack, and then a bunch of Marauders. On the other side for Slaanesh, we have 1 Pleasure Seeker, some Seekers of Slaanesh, Devotees of Slaanesh, interestingly enough, Bringers of Beguilement, Marauder Horsemen, including the Regiment of Renown, 1 Slongor, and Nekari, with Nekari's Rampage, and then the Wit Stealer Sword. Cool. Not super sure about the Devotees of Slaanesh. I've been really underwhelmed by them since the DLC came out, but we'll see how they do. Marauders of Khorne are one of the units I like to shit on the most. I think they're some of the worst units in the game. Basic Marauders of Khorne, they just suck. Their stats look okay, but for some reason they just don't hold up. So if Devotees are going to perform well versus anything, it'll probably be those pieces of shit. Fury's getting a really good engagement onto Seekers and Pleasure Seekers. They got the engagement and they do magic damage, so they're getting past the physical resistance of these demonic units. And they're just going to trade incredibly effectively, as we can see. High weapon strength and high melee attack due to Frenzy and just being Khorne. Really good damage on the Seekers, taking them out. And Skarbrand catches Nekari nice and quickly. Witstealer Sword is procced, so Nekari is a dangerous combatant, but Skarbrand has the support, and also Skarbrand's fucking Skarbrand, so he's going to wreck you a little bit. Nekari can hit and run better than Skarbrand, but in a standing fight it's going to be pretty bad, and Nekari does need to heal by like running near stuff that's dying. See, Harvester of Souls is procced. So Nekari gets away. If they can heal up, this won't be a terrible start. It's a rough start. It's a rough start for sure, but like it could be worse. Nekari hops back in on some Furies that are dying. Still getting that heal. The heal even resets because it was next to a Fury, so Nekari getting a lot of really good healing. Meanwhile, in the distance, the Slongor is wrecking some Marauders of Khorne while Skirmish Cav help out. Skirmish Cav probably don't need to be there, but it doesn't hurt that they're there. It's just there's other things they could be doing. The Chaos Furies of Khorne are a lot of the mobility to try and stop Slaanesh's kiting and skirmish, and we're down to 1 of them. Well, 1 healthy one. There is technically 1 in here that's not doing so well, but speaking of not doing so well, the Pleasure Seekers, a very expensive unit, got caught and killed super early, and Skarbrand's Rampage was down from rampaging Nekari, so I don't really know what happened there, but something terrible happened to Slaanesh. So Nekari lost a lot of HP in an early pick, and then they lost the Pleasure Seekers in an early pick. Really tough start for Slaanesh. They're a little down in the balance of power, only 2 minutes in. Now they could still clutch this out. Bringer's Beguilement trying to hold the center. We have a lot of Skirmish Cav. Nekari, as we have mentioned several times already, can cycle charge and get a lot of healing if it picks off units that are dying. But it's looking tough. The Skirmish Cav are going to have to do a lot of work as Nekari just kites away from Skarbrand with Sweet Sorrow, giving him a ton of speed. Strats Skirmish Cav is after him, and he has 100 speed. Skirmish Cav have 90. How are they keeping up with him? Weird. Seems weird. Bringer's Beguilement gonna fade away soon to Demonic Instability crumbling as the Slongors continue to fight. I don't see the Devotees of Slaanesh anywhere. There they are. Did they do anything? Nope. Units ass garbage. Got it. Marauders get charged by the Skirmish Cav. Nekari's in here. Unfortunately for Nekari, all these are mortal units, and it's very hard for Nekari to get his heal off of mortal units. He needs stuff to entirely die for him to get his heal, and demonic units are just better for that. Skarbrand gets another key rampage, does rampage in the ROR Riders of the Mighty Serpent and Nekari. Nekari's probably going to die here, and that's probably going to be GG, a quick 2-0 to strat game. I mean, probably. Unless some absolute nonsense RNG happens. Like no one hits Nekari for an hour straight. Nekari just gets shot after shot onto them. Skarbrand's trying to get a final charge attack down on Nekari, does get it, and with that rear attack plus his HP being so low, I wouldn't be surprised if he started Demonic Instability crumbling. Oh, that's, I mean, it's not going to change the outcome of this game, I don't think, but that was funny. Furies were flying directly over Nekari's head when they happened to crumble away because of the Skirmish Cav fire, so Nekari just gets a drive-by heal that he really needed. Skirmish Cav, not low in ammunition. They still have like 6 or 4 volleys apiece, which is a lot in the scale of multiplayer. Like, you can do a lot of damage with those volleys, but it's not a lot compared to what they need to do. Scarbrand is crazy healthy for that little skirmish ammunition. You also still have Marauders to kill. You have Minotaurs to kill. I think the Skirmish Cav could maybe kill both of the Minotaurs if left to free fire, but no one can deal with Scarbrand, and army losses seems to agree as they take out Nakari, who did get a heal at the last second. Nice Harvester of Souls as army losses goes off. Damn. Strat game 2-0. Scarbrand got really good value. Marauders did okay, but the Marauder Skirmish Cav did better. Chaos Furies did fine. Minotaurs did fine. For Sipa, Nakari underwhelming a little bit. Devotees of Slaanesh, very underwhelming. Bringers of Groundment did well. Both Seekers seem to struggle. Pleasure Seekers got caught, but they still got okay value. Not amazing considering how expensive they are, but like, from what I saw of them when they got caught, I kind of thought that it would be a sub 1,000 performance from them, so decent damage. Skirmish Cav did well. Skirmish Cav were really trying to carry that for Sipa and just weren't able to. Take you to the bracket, delete the emblem of the Empire up here. So we'll go on to, that was a pretty short series, so we'll do a second one in this first video as a kickoff. What was it, 10 minutes? So I need Codex versus Raced. Round 1, game 1. Codex on the Chaos Dwarves. I know he's been playing a lot of them recently. Versus Raced's Kislev. Raced has always liked Kislev. When they've been strong, when they've been weak, he's always liked him, so. They're definitely, well, okay, like I mentioned in the other game, I have been a little unplugged from the meta. I've been vaguely paying attention, and honestly not that much has changed, so it's fine. But I think like Kislev is either low tier or mid tier right now. I don't think they're that strong, so. Raced finally gets to play him without people banning him. For the Chaos Dwarves, a very wide Chaos Dwarf build. These are much more the type of builds I personally enjoy. Now, enjoy doesn't mean they're the strongest. I still think single entities are pretty strong, and Chaos Dwarves have some strong single entities, but really like the wide builds. Triple Infernal Guard Fireglaive, 1 Blunderbuss, 5 Hobgoblin Archers, and then a front line of Chaos Dwarf Warriors, including the Blazing Beards of Bosrock, and a couple Orc Laborers. We have a Foot Sorcerer Prophet of Death with just Purple Sun. On the side for Kislev, we have some of the Kislevite Horse Archers. Looks like 2 of those guys. Wing Lancers, a front line of Kislevite Warriors, backed up by Streltsy, Kossar Archers, more Streltsy, a couple things in the woods. We do have a Griffin Legion with an Ice Witch of Tempest in the back, and she brought Blizzard and Hailstorm. I think Raced is going to be caught off guard by the wide Chaos Dwarf focused build. Because this build looks like it'd be really good against single entity spam. The Halberd front line would be annoying for Iron Demons. They'd still get through it, but they'd take more damage than they'd want to get through it. And then Streltsy are really good at poking down those units or firing at the big bulls flying around and whatnot. Or shooting at even bull centaurs, I guess. But yeah, just a mass amount of shooting is going to be troublesome. So for now, Raced is just trying to counterfire back, but Streltsy and Kossars are not going to outshoot all the Chaos Dwarves brought, so these Kislevite Warriors do have to advance soon and just get into the melee, because that's the only value they're going to provide. Griffin Legion starting to move out to flank. We still have Horse Archers in the flank waiting to be useful. The cavalry is the real advantage that this Kislev build has. Considering like what both players brought, not what they could have theoretically brought, just looking at it, it's like, all right, the Chaos Dwarves have literally no mobility, so Raced's mobility is going to have to find the back line, it's going to have to shut down a lot of these guns, and it's going to have to make itself worth it. The front line is kind of a wash. Kislevite Warriors versus Chaos Dwarf Warriors is pretty meh. Blazing Beards will do well, but the other ones will all be fine. And then the shooting is Chaos Dwarf favored. Both sides brought a cheap Lord Caster. Neither of them are on monstrous mounts. Really nice Blizzard takes out an entire Infernal Guard Fireglaive. That's going to be super good. And then Horse Archers are flanking, and they're charging Hobgoblin Archers. So really good target selection here from Raced. Knows not to send his light cavalry after the Fireglaives, which are dual-purpose halberds, or even the Blunderbusses, which just have high armor. Buyer Blood is popped as the Hobgoblin Archers defend themselves. Still, those Kislevite Cav might get a little bit of damage out as Winged Lancers are trying to collapse in on the other side as well. Decent peel going on in the back line, but a hailstorm plus focus fire is taking out a blunderbuss. We saw the blizzard killing another fireglaive. So as far as the armor piercing straight shooting goes, 2 out of the 4 units are already compromised. Griffin Legion get a nice charge straight through hobgoblin archers, and their glorious charge does apply a leadership debuff. I believe you do, don't? Yeah, as if they're getting attacked in the rear. So it could get rid of those goblins even faster, but they hold steady for now. Meanwhile, these ones are running into that problem. Wing Lancers charging the Infernal Guard of Fireglaives. 100 armor, armor piercing anti-large, 43 melee defense. It is really hard to shut down the Chaos Dwarf backline with basic heavy cav. You do need armor piercing anti-infantry heavy cav, or just sacrifices, you know? Like, you don't intend to kill the Fireglaves with a cav charge, but you do well stop them from shooting for a bit. Raced has pulled some of his mobility up to help the front line instead. He is now starting to charge into the side of the Orc Laborers or get behind the Chaos Dwarf Warriors and just try and route them that way, but it's looking pretty rough. As you can see in the balance of power, I definitely agree, but the Kislevites are just getting pushed back. Their front line's getting whittled down. Their back line isn't providing the DPS that they want it to because it's built to fight different things. It was not built to shoot all these low-to-the-ground Hobgoblin Archers and Chaos Dwarf Warriors. They wanted to shoot at Flying Bulls. They wanted to shoot at giant war machines trying to rampage through their halberds. This was not what they were expecting. Does it just get pushed down by Chaos Dwarf Warriors all the time? Streltsy have melee attacks that have armor piercing. That could be okay, but it's not going to be enough. If you're wondering what Kislev could do against this kind of build, I mean, if you had the perfect vision to know it's coming, which would be insane to say, you could go like 4 things in the woods and maybe a heavy war sled or 2 and just try and disrupt and charge through the enemy front line and annoy and harass them. That could be pretty good, but it's hard to know what's going to come your way. Things looking pretty cursed for Kislev at this point. I just don't see how they get out of this. Their backline is entirely compromised. Their cavalry are trying to cycle charge, but there's not much damage left to them. And a full health Lord, I mean, I said that and she lost half her HP, but a full health Horse Lord with spells isn't really going to carry the game. Another beautiful Blizzard here from Race takes out yet another Infernal Guard Fireglaive, so his spell casting has been on point, and I think his target selection was okay with what he had, but he just kind of started at a disadvantage from the build screen. Looks like army loss is going to hit soon, and by that I mean buy our blood losses and then army losses. Watch, this Griffin Legion is going to buy our blood and then army loss, I promise you. It's a guarantee. It's a fact. Bam, there it is. And that's GG. Codex has liked this build or this type of build for a while now. He's been talking to me about it. It's fun. I like Chaos Dwarves that play this way. I think they're cool. Hobgoblin Archers got a lot of value. Blunderbuss got shut down pretty quick. Infernal Guard Fireglaves, you can see which one got shut down by that spell, and the other 2 got to actually fight. For Raced, his Lord got a lot of value. Very good spell casts, but his Kislevite Warrior frontline got wrecked. Streltsy did their best, but had a hard time paying for themselves. His Cav also really struggled to get much done in this matchup. GG, Things in the Woods did a bit better. Give game 1 to the Chowie. And then bring you to the desktop to avoid spoilers. Oh boy. What new? Game 2, Undead face-off. Tomb Kings led by Arkan the Black facing Vampire Coast led by Aranessa Saltspite. Alright, Ray, show me what you got. Oh, I do suppose with Cetra and the kitty cat meta, could be pretty good to lock him down with a net. Yeah, sure. Why not? Alright, what do we have? For the Vampire Coast, a little bit of flanking on both sides. The Coast put Scurvy Dogs in the Vanguard. The Tomb Kings put 2 Skeleton Horse Archers in the Vanguard. We have double deck droppers with handguns. We have a bunch of handgun mobs, hand cannon mobs, pistol mobs as well. So an assortment of pirate zombies with guns. Triple depth guard front line backed up by some zombies. Animated Hulks. Yeah, just a couple animated Hulks, no crabs. And Aranessa Saltspite, as we mentioned, with her Kraken's Bane, bonus versus large melee attack aura, and then Spearfisher's Net. We have a Deeps Captain with the Crab Summon and Tide Call as well, so no healing for these Vampire Coast. For the Tomb Kings, mentioned a couple Skeleton Horse Archers. There's one not in the Vanguard. We have a Bone Giant Then Arc in the Black with Spirit Leech and Soul Blight. Front line of Skeleton Spears and a couple, just one Nehekara Warrior. Chose the gods of Shopti Great Bow, Skeleton Archers, including the Blessed Legion of Flach, with their armor sundering, and some Skeleton and Nehekara Horsemen. So Raish probably didn't want to bring crabs here, knowing that the Chosen of the Gods or other Ushabti Kite exists. And then the Necrosphinx ROR is also very good against crabs, especially the Lamprey's Revenge. So maybe he just wanted to try and trick his opponent into bringing stuff to stop them, which the Blessed Legion of Flach, the Chosen of the Gods, and the Bone Giant all would theoretically shoot at the Lamprey's Revenge right now. But they're multi-purpose purpose units. It's not like they have nothing to do at the moment. Chosen of the Gods can still shoot at the Depth Guard and do pretty good damage. Blessed Legion of Flach can still just be archers, and the Vampire Coast hates dealing with archers, so it is whatever. Aranessa, nice job running forward and disrupting the Bone Giant. With her anti-large armor piercing, obviously she's going to get a lot of damage out, but she also just stops it from shooting, and she knows this is an incredibly low-risk play. Looking at the opponent, there's no small single entity killing power on this besides Arc in the Black hitting you with Spirit Leech over and over and over again, so there's no real threat to her just running up and hitting that thing for free. Arkin in the meantime has been using overcasted Spirit Leeches on the Vampire Fleet Captain, recognizing that there's no healing on this whole roster for her. Like, her limited health pool is just going to go away as the Bone Giant's even trying to shoot her down, and then he'll get Aranessa later. Really good pick here, though. Aranessa used her first net on the Bone Giant just to stop it from returning to its lines, and now it is getting absolutely lit up by all these handgunners, losing thousands of HP and going to go down. So that's a really good pick from Race to start the game, but overall still, the Tomb King's feeling very good about their start. Didn't want to lose the Bone Giant, obviously, but this much damage on the enemy caster this early on, already taking out a deck dropper handgunner, and then decent damage on the Depth Guard is just going great. Depth Guard having a bad time. They got their armor sundered by the Blessed Legion of Flach. That makes the Nehekara Warriors actually have a chance of getting through them. So pretty rough stuff. Bounce power actually slightly favors the Vampire Coast, though, because of the big Bone Giant pick. And of course, not all this damage is being unanswered. We have already lost some Skeleton Spears because the Depth Guard just ate them alive. Some Nehekara Horsemen are sacrificing their lives to buy a little bit of time for the backline. So the Vampire Coast push could be a big problem. It could be the exact opposite of game one between these two, where now Raced is the one who's just slowly walking down his enemy, and there's not much his enemy can do about it. Handgun mobs were trying to get good shots on Arkin, and they got some decent damage, but then his Skeleton Warrior summon shuts them down for now, and Spirit Leech will knock out the Vampire Caster. So Arkin's going to retreat, having accomplished his little assassination mission. He needs to now save all of his Winds of Magic for Spirit Leeching down Aranessa, because she is going to be a real problem in the late game if you get to a relatively even state. Like, obviously, if you're close to army losses, you can probably grind her down enough to get the game to just give you the win. But, I mean, if it comes down to a slap fight at the end, he has nothing in melee that can hurt her. There's no Tomb Guard, there's no Kepra Guard ROR, there's no Cetra, there's no anything that kills small infantry characters besides this man's Spirit Leech. Aranessa's going to get the Chosen of the Gods. I wouldn't be shocked if she uses her second net on them, or if she can ever get Arkin to get a little overconfident and then net him either in front of herself or in front of handgunners. That could be pretty sick. I wonder if her net's still on cooldown or why she hasn't used it yet, though, because this game is moving very quickly, so I don't think you really need to save too many nets for the late game. You just kind of need to get the damage out now while you can. So maybe she hasn't had a good situation to net the Chosen of the Gods or any of these other things into a bad situation she actually wants to punish, but I don't know. It is getting a little awkward. Tomb King still have a couple archers putting out good damage, and the Vampire Coast frontline is starting to fade away. Now we have one half-health Depth Guard. We still have a couple handgun and pistol mobs. Those are doing okay, and then we have an animated Hulk. Ooh, there's another healthy Depth Guard over there. That is pretty good. Chosen of the Gods getting good shots onto the Depth Guard, as we could see, and as I mentioned at the start of the game, those cluster 8 munitions on these tightly packed, heavily armored boys does do a lot of damage. Aranessa still proving to be a nuisance, just running around with the Chosen of the Gods, harassing them wherever they go. And a Spearfisher's net on the Nehekara Horseman. Not bad. Not what I was expecting, but not bad. Not bad at all. Just wants to take out the enemy mobility, stop them from harassing his gun line, so he's just going to net them in place. But here's the weird part. The Depth Guard aren't trying to punish that, so I guess we're just relying on hand cannons and handguns to get rid of those guys. Braum shielded, but seems odd. I guess the Depth Guard just wanted to get into more dedicated melee rather than still be getting shot by the various archers, which they still are. Hand cannons and handguns can defend themselves from those Nehekara Horsemen. Meanwhile, pistols are dying to spearmen. Other depth guard, though, taking a lot of damage, leaving Aranessa to be mostly alone in the late game. Bounce power is slightly Tomb King's favorite, but not too bad. And I have not seen a lot of Spirit Leeches coming out from Arkan onto Aranessa. In fact, he even uses a Soul Blight onto the depth guard who already have their armor sundered. So that is double armor sundering onto those depth guard. Really want to get rid of them, but again, I disagree with the Winds of Magic usage. Spirit Leech onto Aranessa is good. Felt like a little bit of overkill on the armor sundering. Vampire Coast are just about out of melee infantry, just about out of ranged infantry as well. Really, we only have this one healthy handgunner that matters. This cannon mob is fading away by crumbling in archers. Animated Hulks are all dead and stuff, so it's getting down to just the Aranessa point that we discussed before. Chosen the Gods forced to run away from her, down to 9 out of 12 models, but way less than half HP. Arkan's very low, so the bounce power is not going to take him seriously. But the only thing that really matters about his bounce power at this point is how many Spirit Leeches he has left. And his skeleton summons, I suppose. But yeah, it's going to come down to Spirit Leeches. Hand cannons a spent force, getting their last shots off one of these spearmen. Handguns did barely survive the skirmish cavalry charge. And there it is. The final Spearfisher's net is onto Arkan. And good play here from Codex, realizing Arkan is netted, and the Spearfisher's net is a decently long time. Instead of letting Aranessa get 1, maybe 2 shots on him that would get him to crumble, it just sacrifices the Chosen of the Gods to turn around and lock her down and make sure Arkan has time to get unnetted and run away. Then he throws down an Army Lost Spirit Leech. Okay, so the Soul Blight didn't matter. He had enough Winds of Magic in the tank to finish her off. Codex, about 1,000 value on Arkan, but his summons and his Spirit Leeches were very, very good. Archers all did well, as they usually do, versus the Vampire Coast. Various cavalry did okay. Bone Giant struggled because of the sick net from Raced. Chosen Gods did well. For Raced, Aranessa actually did decently. Probably one of the better performers in this army. Depth Guard let him down a little bit. Hand cannon mobs, handgun mobs. Shooting did well. Dogs struggled. I think Scurvy Dogs are some of the worst dogs in the game, and they're proving it here. I know they got on some archers and probably got charged by Cav. Shit happens. Handgun bats did okay. Animated Hulks just blocked stuff for a while, but GG. That one was pretty close. That was a close game. It does take us to 2-0 for Codex, so if we go back over to the bracket, get rid of this little blocker. And actually, get up there, use spoilers. Actually, I can reveal this now because we know who both the players are. So Berserk got a bye round for being really highly seated on the ladder, I believe. So Berserk versus Strat Game is up there. Yeah, that'll be it for this video. So I'll be releasing the other series as videos throughout the month. Yeah, take care. Bye. Roar.
Subscribe, yes, yes.